Hey guys, Artemis here from Shym Saunas. Today we're gonna show you how to assemble square barrel sauna. First things first, we need to prepare the base. In this case, you can see the base was prepared. We have some pavers and we just need to check that it is leveled. Then we bring our cradle supports. In this case, the sauna is 2.3 meter long and we have 3 supports. They are carbon fiber and we're gonna arrange them on the spot, so with the distances as we would like it. And we start with the middle stave. So the middle stave, concave out on both sides. We measure it and we start assembling the base. We need to make sure we have a square base. For that, we need to measure and make sure the distances from the front to the back are the same on both sides. And we also need to check diagonal distances. What we need to make sure we achieve is that the notch and all of the staves are aligned so that when we put the wall, it will come in nice and easy. After we assemble the base, we need to assemble the front wall. The front wall comes in 3 pieces. And the easiest way, especially if you don't have a lot of space around, is to assemble the front wall near your base, on top of your base. So we put 3 pieces together, we join them, and then we have to stand it up and flip it. The back wall comes in 2 pieces, and as you can see, there's a lower piece and there's upper piece. We don't have to put them both together. We can put the bottom one first, get some staves over the wall, and then put the top one when we need it. We just need to make sure that the bottom piece is leveled. So let's check it. Once you get the front wall and the back wall in the position, we can secure it with the temporary staves on each side. That will allow us to progress further with the staves going up the wall. As we go up the wall, we will try to secure every stave up to the middle. After that, we can secure every second stave. Then, when we apply straps, we will need to remove the screws to get the staves as tight as possible, and then we will put the screws back in. So, you secure the staves as you go up the walls. At some point in time, you will not need to secure them anymore, and you can just stack them one on top of another. You stack them loose, and you go all the way to the approximately center line of the roof. Eventually, you're gonna have a gap left. And here we have a gap about 50-60 millimeters. So what we need to do, we actually need to go with a little margin. So when we have a gap of 50-60 millimeters, we need to try to fill 70-80 millimeters in. So you can see the stave we prepared here, this stave is actually bigger than the gap, and that's the idea. So we fill in one piece like that, another piece on the other side, and then we'll fit in these pieces in the middle. So that will allow for the future shrinking and drying of the timber, because the timber will dry a little bit and will shrink, and in 12 months time everything will settle, and because you have put 20 or 30 millimeters more of timber, it will be just fine and the gaps will not be too big. So you can see it is not quite straight at the top. That's because we put those 20 extra millimeters of length of timber. Now the next step is we're gonna put the straps. And as we tighten the straps, we're gonna tap the staves of the roof, and everything will become straight and tight. As we tighten the straps, we want to take the screws partially out. So we'll unscrew them, make the staves move freely, and as we tighten the straps, the staves will find the best possible position and will get tighter to each other and tighter onto the wall. Once we tighten the straps and they tight all of them, we can put the screws back into the surface of the sauna. Tighten the staves. The next step is to put the benches. This particular model comes with the benches on the sides. It is suitable for the firewood heated version of the sauna because the firewood heater could sit at the back wall. To install the benches, all we need is just lay the benches on the supports. There is a support on the back wall and a support on the front wall, and install the support brackets which will be sitting in the middle. The next step is to put the shingles, and to do the shingles we first need to find the line from which to start the shingles. So to get to that line we start with the skirting boards. So we mark the center line from where we start with the skirting boards. Then we secure our skirting boards, and as we go with the skirting boards down the line and down the wall, we will find the spot where we would like to start with the shingles. So we came with the skirting board all the way to this line. So this is a good justified point for us to put a rain separation plank and start with our shingles, because we're past the curvature and we could potentially do the shingles from here. We could also install this part of the skirting board, go further, and that will give us a little bit more freedom to where we put the separation plank and start with the shingles, but it'd probably be more justified to go all the way down to here. The question is then becomes, do we have enough shingles? That's why we're not going to risk it, and we will start with this level to make sure we have sufficient amount of bitumen tiles to shingle. So that's where we'll stop, that's where we're going to put the separation plank. Once we install the rain separation plank, we can take off the skirting boards, because it will be easier to cut the shingles as we go up without the skirting boards. Once we finish with the shingles, we can put the skirting boards back. If the weather is not warm enough and you're not going to use a heat gun to activate the glue, you could use a silicone. When you go to the second layer of bitumen tiles, you can start joining them together like so. In this way, when we apply the next layer of shingles, you want to make sure that this trapezoidal piece will actually come here and will cover the joint from above. The next layer of shingles, we need to make sure we cover the joint. So we shift the bitumen tile to the right, and we will need to cut a small piece to cover that edge. When you get to the top, you have a little section here which we will try to close up. So we're first going to put a little piece, which is the filler, just to maintain the height of the center line. So we will maintain the height, and then we will come overlapping this center filler piece. So right now we have had an overlap. This is the first overlap. So we're doing this row here, and you can see that this row is still going over the filler and just starting to touch the other side. So we will finish this row, and we will continue from this side going over the other side. So the next row is the same as the previous one, we're just starting to overlap that way. So but now we will need to put some silicone over this joint here. So once we get to the very top, the last few rows, we need to overlap the joint and silicone the joint between them as well. So this final row overlapped both sides, and we closed all the joints here. So all the joints are closed. This part is siliconed. These sheets are siliconed over each other. Now the only part is left is there are some little joints here. This one is well covered. This one is well covered. This one is well covered. But that one there still has about 10mm overlap. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do one more row of this, but the other way around, so that we overlap it that way. So once we finish with the bitumen tiles over the top, we can put the skirting boards back, and all that's left to do is to silicone the edge of the front wall all around the perimeter, and the same on the back wall. So we just want to make sure that the rainwater doesn't get into that notch. So we silicone it over the front and at the back, and then that's left is to put a few accessories inside the sauna. So this was it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.